I'm going to tell you a story, a little bit about the cod, which is the foundation of Iceland in a way. And without the cod, we would be nothing. Iceland was the poorest country of Europe in the early days. We went on rowing boats and we fetched our cod and we filled our stomachs. With industrialization of the fisheries, we became one of the richest countries of Europe, thanks to the cod. The cod was our gold, like the timber is the gold of Finland, and each country has its resources. So, how does this relate to what I'm going to talk about? We talk about the gaming industry of Iceland. First, there was nothing except fisheries, and then this arrived in Sweden. First in Sweden, the NES came in the late 90s, and I was fortunate because my father brought one of the first 5 shipments that arrived in Gothenburg of the Nintendo. Brought it to our house, and the Icelanders quickly got adjusted to their entertainment, going from Schwarzenegger, Stallone, the movies, and got, like everybody else, hooked on computer games. Because we had high purchasing power, we were a little bit on top of things. We were the early adopters. We are a small nation that is rich, technically well-equipped, so we had the highest internet connection in the world, most PCs per capita in the world. So we had a very good infrastructure for technologies and a gaming sector. And the Icelanders were optimistic, turning from living in mud houses, being a very poor nation, in transforming into a rich nation. So this company was founded in the wake of this gaming revolution that was starting all around the world. But the interesting part is that I cannot tell you a big story like Johanna was telling about the Swedish market, because the Swedish market is huge. The Finnish market is huge. Don't know who's bigger now. But the thing is that, believe it or not, the Icelandic gaming industry was ahead of the Finnish industry at the time. We had 3 gaming companies, 95, 96. CCP was the one who survived. The 2 other companies were making games for the PlayStation 1 platform. Didn't go as well. But why did CCP succeed? It succeeded because we had ambitious bankers, Kaupthing Bank, that really founded this company. We had no tradition of VCs in Iceland. We only invested in cod. Cod was our money. We just bought new trawlers and we fished cod, and it was easy. We sell it to Spain, we sell it abroad. We even stopped to eat the cod ourselves and started to eat the haddock because the cod was so much gold, we could get so much money. So we changed that. But this company got a decent funding of a few $1 million, and is moderately, artistically very successful company. I don't know if you heard about it. Financially doing relatively good. Other companies didn't go as good as that. But the problem for us was that these bankers were very ambitious and a little bit too ambitious. They decided, I mean, gaming is a small business, but let's buy the world instead. So they went and bought a few banks in Sweden, Norway. They bought parts of Nordea, Sampo Financials in Finland, and a lot of other companies all over the world. So pretty much nothing happens for 10 years in Iceland. And this is a story that happens in many societies, that after our bust, after our bank went bust, here is our prime minister asking God to bless the Icelandic nations, because we got overambitious that sometimes happens, and kind of like became a little bit in the shell again, because we couldn't make it. So in the wake of the crisis, like happened in Finland, Nokia transformed there in the beginning of the 90s, started the Finnish technology. It also happened some changes in Iceland, and people started to think maybe we should do something more than rely on the fish, and since the banking thing didn't work so good, so we should maybe try some other things. So, I don't know, a partly governmental fund funded a gaming company, another decently funded gaming company called Gogogic. They had like 40 employees, made a couple of games, and we had talent pool at the time. It was a good technology, good education. Some people had worked for CCP. But this company made a lot of games, but it was a little bit in the early days of Facebook games, and prior to mobile. In a way, they made few mobile games, and eventually they went bust as well. But people were starting to have ideas after the crisis. So we had a second successful gaming company of Iceland recently. It's called Quiz Up. I don't know if you heard about it, but they launched in 2012, and they got 10 million downloads in 8 weeks. And became the biggest trivia game for the moment for some 9 months, until Trivia Cracker passed them. But this created a lot of optimism again. So now in Iceland, some of what we can call the fishermen are realizing that Iceland can have a say, maybe like Finland, Sweden, and all other countries in this sector. So we have been fortunate to get some investment studios like studio I'm working for. Small studios are starting to develop, and optimism is on the rise. So now we can say there is a new era in Iceland. There's a general sense that this better access to financing is creating a lot of optimism, both by young people and older veterans. Older veterans have left CCP. They are founding their own seats. There has been transformation also of this company that has a little bit stalled, and people are starting a lot of new companies, promising companies in every field. And the talent pool is quite strong. I mean, we have, even though there is a few people, we have at least a couple of, well, I don't know, maybe not so many. But we have people that have been working for our companies in all major studios, in Rovio, in King, in, don't know, in Supercell, don't think so, but all over the world. Singa is Iceland, working for Apple, Google, and these companies. And they want to come home, or they want to work with Icelandic companies, and they want to build something. So what we are doing now is it's very diverse. It's like more or less all kinds of small startup in these sectors. I'm not going to talk so much about the rest of the game. We are doing simple sports game, mobile sports games, company that I'm working for. And we are a little bit more or less everywhere. And we have recently founded 3 funds, investment funds, local Icelandic investment funds, that are all looking into investing a little bit in this sector. So that is the story of today. It's not a big story, and we don't know how it's going to end. But there is optimism in the industry, and we are, I think, going to arrive somewhere. So this was a short overview of a short market in Iceland. We don't have a long history. It's mainly these 2 companies that have really succeeded, but there's others on the way. So if you have any questions, I would be glad to tell you more, even about the history, the economics, or the gaming, the technology? Or the Blue Lagoon? The well, it's a tourist trap. That's the inside information. Okay, but yeah, if you want to travel, if you want to go to Iceland, like that's why I want to brief you on. There's a lot of hot pools, and we got these resources. That everybody should go to a swimming pool, outside swimming pool, and swim in hot water. Try the Blue Lagoon as well, but only once.
I will definitely remember that. Yeah.
It's a question.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for the good talk, Markus Fischer, Digon Games. You were a little bit talking about the industry there.
Yes.
A little bit switching to the other perspective. What games are successful in that country? Is it like the same thing as in Europe, because Iceland is so isolated, or is it Danish companies are doing good there, or like media houses? What is the perspective from that side? Can you a little bit talk about that?
Yes, we'll be happy to talk about that. Iceland is a little bit, because it's between Europe and North America, we describe it as much more Americanized country than the rest of Scandinavia or the Nordic countries. But more or less, the world is so global that you will see more or less the same games. I mean, we are playing the mobile games, we are playing Supercell. Once Angry Birds was the most popular game. Every kid in Iceland is playing Minecraft. I think that's the most popular thing. So the taste is, I think it's more or less European, American, globe. I think you would just fit it in there, what is most popular in our country.